Evelyn thought her family was built on love, but it was built on a secret. For 32 years, she hid the truth about her daughter's childhood. And when she finally confessed on national television, that truth stopped Dr. Phill mid-sentence. Because the woman everyone thought was her daughter was never hers to begin with. The air in the studio turns heavy. Viewers lean forward, sensing something enormous just cracked open. One lie, 3 generations, and a truth powerful enough to tear a family apart, or finally set it free. The studio lights were blinding that afternoon. Evelyn sat at center stage, fingers twisting a crumpled tissue, her voice trembling. Beside her sat Melissa, the woman she raised, the woman who, until today, believed Evelyn was her mother. Dr. Phil's tone was steady, compassionate, but direct. "Evelyn," he said, "you told my producers there's something you've never said out loud. Not to your family, not even to her." He motioned toward Melissa. "What is it?" Evelyn inhaled deeply, the sound of it cutting through the silence. "I didn't come here for forgiveness," she said softly. "I came here for truth." Melissa turned, eyes narrowing. "What truth?" Evelyn's throat tightened. Her hands shook as she reached for a glass of water she didn't drink. "She's not my daughter," she whispered. "She's my granddaughter." The audience gasped. Even Dr. Phill blinked hard, momentarily speechless. Melissa froze, her mouth falling open before words formed. "That's not funny, Mom." But Evelyn didn't laugh. Tears streamed down her face. "I'm so sorry." The cameras zoomed in, capturing every tremor, every heartbeat. Somewhere in the back row, a woman covered her mouth in disbelief. The producers glanced at each other. They'd expected emotion, but not this. Dr. Phill leaned forward slowly. "You're telling us Melissa isn't your biological child?" Evelyn nodded, unable to meet her daughter's eyes. "She's my daughter's child," she said. "Claire's baby. I raised her as my own." Melissa's chair scraped against the floor as she stood, tears welling. "You're lying. You have to be lying." Evelyn looked up finally, eyes red. "I wish I were." The silence that followed felt eternal. The cameras cut between them. The woman who lied to protect, and the woman who'd just lost her identity in front of millions. Dr. Phill broke the quiet. "Evelyn, why now? Why tell this here?" Evelyn wiped her face. "Because I'm dying," she whispered, "and I can't leave this world with a lie between us." A collective gasp rippled through the audience again. The shot lingered on Melissa, her chest heaving as anger battled heartbreak. "You waited until now?" she said. "After everything?" Evelyn reached toward her. "Please let me explain." Melissa stepped back. "Explain how you lied every day of my life." Dr. Phil's voice softened. "Evelyn, take us back. How did this begin?" The lights dimmed slightly. The screen behind them flashed photos. A young Evelyn holding a baby, smiling. The narrator's voice entered over soft piano. Before this moment in the studio, before the tears and the truth, there was a choice, a desperate one, made in a small southern town more than 30 years ago. Dr. Phill looked directly into the camera. And that's where this story really begins. The scene fades to black, and the words appear on screen. 3 decades earlier. The secret is out, but what could drive a mother to steal her own daughter's child? What would you sacrifice to protect the person you love most? The screen fade from black to a quiet southern neighborhood. 1989. The hum of cicadas fills the air. Laundry flaps lazily on a backyard line. A teenage girl, Claire, sits on the porch steps, knees drawn to her chest, tears streaking down her face. Inside, her mother, Evelyn, 36, stern but exhausted, stands at the kitchen counter gripping a phone. On the other end is a nurse from the local clinic. The words are simple, but they land like a hammer. "Your daughter's pregnant." Evelyn doesn't say a word. She just closes her eyes, the weight of that sentence pressing on her chest like a stone. In their small Texas town, rumors travel faster than storms. In 1989, an unmarried pregnant teenager was branded for life. That night, Claire cries in her room, whispering apologies through the door. Evelyn sits outside in the hallway, back against the wall, listening to the sobs of a child who has just become something more, and something she isn't ready to be. The next morning, Evelyn makes her decision. She walks into Claire's room, her voice calm but final. "We're not telling anyone. When the baby's born, everyone will believe she's mine." Claire stares at her in disbelief. "What? Mom, no." Evelyn cuts her off. "Do you understand what people will do to you? You'll lose everything. Your future, your reputation, my baby." Claire whispers. Evelyn's silence says everything. The months that follow are a quiet storm. Evelyn starts wearing loose clothes. She tells neighbors she's expecting again after years of trying. People congratulate her. Church members bring casseroles. Everyone believes the story. When Melissa is born, Evelyn holds her first. Claire is still in a hospital bed, weak, crying silently. Evelyn whispers, "I'll take care of her. I promise." And for a moment, just one, that promise feels like love. But as years pass, that love begins to twist. Claire finishes high school under the shadow of a secret. She watches her own child call her Aunt Claire. Every laugh, every birthday candle, every crayon drawing cuts a little deeper. When Melissa turns 6, the lie collapses. Claire packs her bags one night without saying goodbye. She leaves behind a note that simply says, "I can't do this anymore. She's yours now." Evelyn finds it the next morning. She clutches it to her chest, sobbing. Somewhere deep inside, she knows this wasn't protection anymore. It was possession. The narrator's voice folds in. Evelyn told herself she was saving her daughter. But in truth, she was saving herself from shame, from gossip, from loss. Yet every secret has a heartbeat, and someday it will demand to be heard. Years roll on. Melissa grows up calling Evelyn Mom. The lie becomes habit, then history. Only 2 people in the world know the truth, one who's running from it, and one who's pretending it never happened. But even buried truth leaves traces. Sometimes it shows up in the way Evelyn flinches when Melissa asks about her father. Sometimes it lingers in the silence when Claire's name comes up. Because no matter how deep a lie is buried, the past has a way of clawing itself back to the surface. She thought she'd buried the secret forever, but the past doesn't stay buried when it has a heartbeat. Can love built on deception ever survive the truth? The story jumps forward 25 years. The world has changed, but inside Evelyn's modest house, time seems to have stood still. The same floral curtains, the same ticking clock, the same woman living with a lie that's become her only companion. Melissa is grown now, 32. She's smart, confident, with her mother's sharp eyes and a heart she doesn't quite understand. She still calls Evelyn every morning before work, a habit that feels like comfort, but one that's about to crack. It starts small, a conversation with an old neighbor at the grocery store. Melissa's picking up milk when Mrs. Turner, who's known the family for decades, smiles warmly and says, "You remind me so much of your real mother." Melissa laughs awkwardly. "You mean Mom?" Mrs. Turner freezes. "Oh, of course, sweetheart. That's what I meant." But her voice trembles. Her eyes drop. And in that instant, Melissa's world tilts just a little. That night, the thought won't leave her alone. She asks Evelyn directly, half joking, half testing. "Mom, Mrs. Turner said something weird today. She called you my grandmother." Evelyn's spoon stops halfway to her mouth. She forces a laugh. That old woman's memory's going. Don't think twice. But Melissa notices the flicker in her eyes. That tiny moment of panic that doesn't fit the laugh. Over the next few weeks, little cracks widen. A box in the attic labeled Claire's things. An old photo of Evelyn holding a baby in a hospital while a young woman, a mirror image of Melissa, stands beside her, face blurred from age and light. One night, unable to resist the pull of curiosity, Melissa goes back up to that attic. Dust motes float in the air, caught by the light of her phone flashlight. She kneels beside the box and opens it. Inside, hospital bracelets, letters, and an envelope marked for Claire, 1989. Her hands shake as she unfolds a document that smells faintly of old paper and regret. A birth certificate, the name under mother, Claire Bennett. Her breath catches. Her throat closes. She reads it again, then again. Her own name, Melissa Bennett. But Evelyn's name is nowhere on it. Her mind floods with memories. The missing photos from her early childhood, the way her mom never wanted to talk about the day she was born, the strange silences whenever the name Claire was mentioned. She feels dizzy, betrayed. Everything she believed, her roots, her story, her identity, begins to blur. Melissa rushes downstairs, the paper trembling in her hand. Evelyn's in the living room, folding laundry, humming softly. "Who is Claire?" Melissa demands. Evelyn's body stiffens. She turns slowly. "Where did you hear that name?" Melissa throws the birth certificate onto the table. "Right here. I found it in your attic. Why does it say Claire Bennett is my mother? Who is she?" For a moment, Evelyn looks like she might faint. Then she sits down heavily, whispering, "Oh, God. Mom, answer me." But Evelyn doesn't. She starts crying, not the quiet, guilty kind of crying, but the kind that comes from years of holding something poisonous inside. Melissa's voice cracks. "All these years, you looked me in the eye and called me your daughter. You lied to me my entire life." Evelyn finally whispers, "I did it for you." Melissa steps back, shaking her head. "No, you did it for you." The narrator's voice cuts in, low and haunting. The truth wasn't lost. It was hidden, buried beneath fear, wrapped in love, and sealed inside a mother's guilt. But when a lie lives long enough, it becomes part of the family too. Melissa leaves that night. She doesn't slam the door. She just closes it softly, like closing a chapter of her life that was never really hers. And as the camera lingers on Evelyn sitting alone, we hear the clock ticking again, the same sound from 30 years earlier. The lie has come full circle. The secret is finally out. But what happens when the person you lied for turns their back on you? What would you do if the truth that freed you also shattered everything you ever loved? The next morning, the camera opens on a gray Texas sky. Melissa stands in the driveway, suitcase in hand, waiting for a rideshare. She hasn't spoken to Evelyn in 2 days. Inside, Evelyn watches through the curtain, wrinkled hands trembling, the phone pressed her chest. She knows she can't stop her daughter from leaving. Not this time. But guilt is louder than pride. She dials the number anyway. "Melissa," she says softly, "please come home. We need to talk." Cut to later that night. The kitchen looks the same as it always has. Same clock ticking, same yellow light, but the air feels heavier, charged. Melissa sits across from her mother, arms folded. Between them, the birth certificate lies on the table like evidence in a crime scene. Evelyn's voice is barely a whisper. "I never wanted it to be this way." "Then why was it this way?" Melissa fires back. "You could have told me the truth at any point. When I graduated, when I got married, when I became a mother myself." Evelyn's tears spill before her words. "Because I was scared. I thought if I told you, you'd hate me. I thought I'd lose you, just like I lost Claire." Melissa's tone hardens. "You lost me the second you lied." There's silence. Only the faint hum of the refrigerator and the sound of two people realizing they've been living opposite versions of the same life. Evelyn reaches for the folded certificate, smoothing its creases with shaking fingers. "Your mother, Claire, she wanted to come back. She wrote letters. She begged me to let her explain. But I couldn't." Melissa's voice drops to a whisper. "You couldn't? Or you wouldn't?" Evelyn's breath catches. "I wouldn't. I couldn't face what people would say. The church, our neighbors. I told myself you deserve stability. But the truth is, I didn't want to share you." The admission hangs in the air like smoke. Melissa stands, pacing. Her voice cracks. "So, you kept me away from my real mother because you were ashamed? Because you were afraid of gossip?" Evelyn shakes her head, sobbing now. "Because you were the only good thing I ever did. Losing you would have killed me." Melissa stares at her, eyes glistening but cold. "You didn't save me, Mom. You stole my story." The clock ticks louder, filling the silence that follows. Then Evelyn whispers, "Claire's alive. She lives in Oklahoma now. I kept track. She writes every Christmas. I just never showed you." Melissa freezes. Her anger falters, replaced by shock. "You still talk to her?" Evelyn nods slowly. "I was going to tell you. Before I got sick." That word, sick, lands like thunder. Melissa looks up. "Sick? What do you mean?" Evelyn exhales shakily. "I have congestive heart failure. They said it's late stage. That's why I reached out to Dr. Phil's team. I want to make things right before I go. Melissa's world tilts again. Rage melts into confusion. Confusion into heartbreak. She presses her palms against her face, whispering, "You waited until you were dying to give me the truth?" Evelyn nods. "I thought I had more time." The narrator's voice cuts through softly, reflective. For decades, Evelyn carried the lie like a shield. But secrets aren't armor, they're anchors. And the moment she told the truth, the weight of it began to drown them both. Hours later, Melissa drives away into the night. The rear-view mirror reflects Evelyn standing in the doorway, a small figure swallowed by porch light and regret. That's when the story shifts, because what Melissa does next will make national headlines. She writes a post online titled "The Lie That Raised Me." Within days, it goes viral. One of Dr. Phil's producers reads it and reaches out to both women. The final image of the chapter, Evelyn staring at her ringing phone, her reflection fractured in the kitchen window. She whispers to herself, "Maybe it's time." Dr. Phil's team has called. The truth that destroyed their home is about to be broadcast to millions. Can forgiveness survive when the whole world is watching? The studio is silent except for the hum of cameras. You can feel the tension like static in the air. Evelyn sits on one couch, Melissa on the other, a gulf of distance between them that 30 years of lies built brick by brick. Dr. Phill begins gently. "Evelyn, last time we spoke, you said you'd do anything to make this right. Today, we're going to start that process." Evelyn nods, clutching her hands so tight her knuckles whiten. Melissa avoids her eyes. She looks calm, but the calm of someone whose emotions are frozen solid. Dr. Phill turns toward Melissa. "You wrote a letter that touched millions of people. In it, you said you didn't know whether you had a mother or a grandmother. What does that feel like?" Melissa's eyes glisten. "It feels like I've been a character in someone else's story. I spent my life trying to live up to expectations that weren't even mine. And now I don't know who I'm supposed to be." The audience murmurs softly, the kind of empathy that hurts. Evelyn's lip trembles. "Honey, I didn't mean for this to happen." Melissa cuts her off, voice shaking. "You didn't mean it, but you let it happen. Every time I said, 'I love you, Mom,' you let me live in a lie." Dr. Phill holds up a hand. "Let's slow down. Evelyn, help her understand why you made that choice." Evelyn's eyes close for a moment. "I was trying to protect Claire," she says. "She was 17. The world wasn't kind to girls like her. I thought I could fix it. But once I took that lie, it owned me." Her voice breaks. "I thought if I kept the secret long enough, it would become the truth." Dr. Phill leans forward steady. "And that's the problem with secrets. They don't disappear. They just rot quietly until one day they blow up your whole life." Evelyn nods through tears. "You're right." She turns to Melissa. "I know I can't undo what I did. But you have to know, every good thing you are, you became because I loved you. Maybe I lied about where you came from, but I never lied about that." Melissa swallows hard. "I believe you loved me. I just wish love had been enough to make you honest." There's a long pause. The audience sits in silence. Then Dr. Phil's tone shifts. "Melissa, you said in your letter there were questions you still needed answered. Would you like the chance to ask them today?" Melissa nods hesitantly. "I want to know if my real mother ever wanted me." Dr. Phill glances toward the side of the stage. "Then it's time you hear the answer yourself." The audience gasps as a door opens. Claire steps out, older now, fragile, eyes wet before she even reaches the stage. Melissa's breath catches. Evelyn covers her mouth. For 30 years, this moment has existed only in dreams and nightmares. Claire takes a seat. "Hi, sweetheart," she whispers. Her voice trembles, but her eyes never leave Melissa's. "I never stopped thinking about you." Melissa stares back, frozen between shock and grief. "Why didn't you come for me?" Claire wipes a tear. "I did. But every time I tried, your grandmother told me you were happy, that you didn't need me. And I believed her." Evelyn's tears fall again. "I thought I was doing what was right. I was wrong." The three women sit in silence, generations of pain colliding under bright lights. Dr. Phill lets the moment breathe. Sometimes, he says softly, truth doesn't bring peace right away. It just clears the path for it. Melissa finally speaks, voice barely a whisper. I don't know how to forgive any of this. Dr. Phill nods. You don't have to today, but you took the first step. You faced it. The camera zooms slowly on Melissa's trembling hands, then Evelyn's reaching across the couch. For a second, Melissa hesitates, then lets her fingers rest in her mother's. The crowd exhales. Dr. Phill closes the segment with quiet gravity. We can't change how a story starts, but we can decide how it ends. As the camera pans out, the three women sit there, broken but finally together. The truth has been spoken aloud. But what happens when the cameras turn off? Can a family this fractured ever truly heal? Is forgiveness something we give to others, or something we give ourselves first? 6 months later, the studio lights are gone. The cameras have stopped rolling. But for Evelyn, Melissa, and Claire, the real work has only just begun. We open on a quiet morning in a small Texas park. The sun glows over a lake, soft and gold. Melissa sits on a bench, watching her little boy feed ducks along the water's edge. Next to her is Claire, her mother, not her aunt anymore. She's smiling, awkward but genuine, handing her grandson another handful of bread. The distance between them has narrowed, not gone but softened. You can tell by the way Melissa glances at her, hesitant but warm. The silence between them isn't angry anymore. It's healing. Across town, Evelyn sits by the window of her modest living room. Oxygen tube in her nose, notebook in her lap. She's writing a letter, slow, careful, each word an act of penance. Her voice echoes over soft piano. If you're reading this, it means I didn't get to say goodbye in person. I don't ask for forgiveness. I only hope you understand that everything I did, even the wrong things, came from love. I see that now. Love without truth isn't love at all. It's fear. Cut to footage from a small church event. Evelyn, frail but radiant, standing at a microphone, speaking to a group of mothers. Secrets don't protect your children, she tells them. They protect your shame. And shame doesn't deserve that much power. The audience claps gently. Her story, once whispered in guilt, is now helping others heal. Meanwhile, Dr. Phil's team airs a follow-up episode titled The Lie That Raised 3 Generations. The screen shows clips of the family months later. Claire attending therapy with Melissa, Evelyn smiling as her grandson draws at her kitchen table. Dr. Phill narrates. Evelyn's truth cost her everything she thought she had to protect. But it gave her something she didn't think she'd ever earn again, peace. We see a short interview clip. Melissa sits alone, voice steady. When I found out the truth, I thought I'd never speak to her again. But now I understand. Sometimes people lie not because they don't love you, but because they're terrified you won't love them back if you knew who they really were. A pause. I love her anyway. The camera fades to black and reopens on a family photo. 3 women standing together in Evelyn's backyard. Their smiles are uneven but real. There's no more pretending. The narrator's voice returns, calm and thoughtful. The truth doesn't erase pain. It doesn't undo what's been lost. But it gives pain a purpose. And sometimes that purpose is redemption. Later, we return to Evelyn's home one last time. The notebook she wrote in lies open on the table. The final page reads, "The truth heals." The breeze from the open window rustles the pages gently, as if answering her. Fade out. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes one act of honesty can heal what generations of silence could not. And remember, love without truth isn't protection, it's prison. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories that remind us. Truth might hurt, but it also sets us free.